start with our next session, the AHPE oration, Faculty Development in HPE, Looking Back and Looking Forward. It is my privilege to introduce the first chairperson of this session, Dr. Anshu. Ma'am is currently the Director and Professor of Pathology at the Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Medical Sciences, Sevagram, and the present President of AHPE. Ma'am is Global Faculty, International Famer Institute, Philadelphia, and also faculty at Famer Regional Institutes in India and East Africa. Ma'am is a recipient of numerous awards and many prestigious fellowships, like Commonwealth Fellowship, SEC. I take great pleasure in welcoming Dr. Anshu. It is with great pleasure I introduce our second chairperson of the day, our Dean, Dr. Varsha Phadke ma'am. Ma'am is the Dean, KJSMC Medical College and Professor in the Department of Pediatrics. She has over 3 decades of rich teaching experience and has a FAMER Fellowship and is a FAMER faculty. She has more than 21 national and international publications and is a recipient of many awards. She has been recently nominated as a member of Standing Committee and a member of Management Council of MUHS, a proud moment for us indeed. It's an honor to welcome Dr. Varsha Phadke. I now hand over the session to the respected chairpersons. Ma'am, actually, I think it's wire as well.
So good morning, everybody. The Academy of Health Professions Educators, the AHPE, has instituted the AHPE oration from this year, and the AHPE oration is to recognize those individuals who have made exemplary contributions to health professions education in India. And this award is given to those exalted individuals who show evidence of excellence in teaching, research, and scholarship. And they have given significant contribution to health professions education, made an impact on HPE at the national level, influenced and benefited stakeholders, mentored others in the field of HPE, and also are individuals who serve as role models and adhere to ethical principles, conduct, and accountability and respect for all groups, inclusiveness, and humanism. And who better to fit all these traits than the doyen in the field of health professions education, Dr. Avinash Supe. So I request Dr. Varsha to please introduce him briefly.
My job is very difficult, at the same time very simple. Difficult because if I start reading Sir CV, I will not finish only. And easy because all of us know Sir. And just now Dr. Anshu read out, and each and every line I was imagining it was meant for Sir. So, and I'm very happy that I'm a student of KEM, so I had the privilege of him having a teacher for surgery, and then at the time of FAMER Fellowship. He has been mentor to most of us and a very approachable, very good person. Thank you, sir, and please start your.
Thank you. Thank you for that all good words, and I'm so happy to be with my all. I must call this as my own family. I think this is something which is very close to us, and thank you so much for this honor, and being the first orator of AHP is always an honor. The topic I'm going to speak today is I'm just going to give you thoughts about what we need to do about faculty development in future. I must tell you, this oration is honor not for me, but it's for all my teachers and teams, all my people like NTTC JIPMER, ME unit of my hospital, FAMER and FAMER Regional Institute teams, my MCI and NCB, NMC academic committees, AHP EC, and also thanks to the NHP 2023 committee. I think it's an honor for all of them who have backed me in my life. Now by 2047, India will be developed nation. This has already been told, and India is going to be the health hub for the world. Now, if you really see today, we are the second into the population. we have 1.42 billion population. But the picture is going to change in 2050, where we will be the first having 1.67 billion population, and China will be much lower than us. That means we will be the first people who will be leading the world with the human resource. Having said that, the elderly population in the world is going to grow and almost going to be double. That means the senior citizens are going to double than what we are today. Look at these curves. Look at just what is going to happen. Health needs of the community and health workforce, if you really consider, what is the current state of surgery? We require totally 14.3 crore surgeries in the world, out of which 6.5 crore are needed in India, and we are only able to do 2.6 crores. That means what? 3.5 crores, 60% are not done due to access, affordability, and avoidance. Now, this is a picture which we are doing. And how many surgeons we have? We have 2.5% surgeons in India per lakh. That means 2 less number of surgeons in India. And therefore, we are not able to do surgeries. So, government wants to increase, and we are trying to increase the number of seats. So, what will be the future? We will find currently we have about 40,000 surgeons. We need 1,20,000. But by 2050, we require 2,10,000 surgeons. And with all the increased number of seats, we'll be only getting 1,30,000 seats. And this is true with every kind of faculty. We have a gap into the world about surgery. And these are not my own data. This is a Lancet data. This is NMJI, our own paper, Lancet data. This is all published data, which I'm just trying to put forward to you. So what did government do? We have increased the number of seats. We have UG seats which are almost 1,08,000 per year. We have 62,000 plus seats in PG, and we have 710 medical colleges per year in India today. What a great increase which has happened. So we are growing. What were 256 colleges today? We have 710. And today we have more government colleges than the private colleges. Though may not be fully developed, but this is the data which says. Now this is what we are, and you will find 1,000 plus colleges by 2050. These are raw facts which we have to face. I want to ask you a few questions. Do we have faculty for these colleges? We need 2023, we require more than 1 lakh teachers. And we are finding problems with regular faculty. We are taking people who are practicing people and trying to put them in practice. Are they going to be all whatever is said in the morning, professionals, master adaptive learners, everything? Are they aware of all this? Are they going to learn all this? And are they going to practice and give it to the students all this? These are the questions we need to ask. So I need to ask 3 questions to you. Are we growing too fast? And the question to this is yes, we are growing too fast. Is the quality of education being compromised? I'm not very sure. It is probably. We are churning out a lot of people, but we don't know whether the quality of the person who is coming out is absolutely competent enough or not competent enough. And do we have enough developed faculty for the same? And the question for all this is probably no. So we are in an era, in a chaotic era, where we are growing fast without having adequate developed faculty to cope up with this. And we are a small bunch of people trying to work on this. But remember that Gandhiji's sentence, it is not that what we talk, it is the real that 1 lakh teachers who are in the ground who need to be developed. And that's our problem. So look at education. Education is future. Even President Obama said, 21st century will be education and innovation. We are all talking about innovations. Education in innovation and innovation in education. That was his sentence. Even in India, if you look at, Birla talked about, the most obvious answer is education that will empower the nation. If you really see today, we have 67% people who have done primary education, 33% are not educated today in our country, even after 30, 40 years of education policy. And education that enhances livelihoods, but also education that is value-based. That's the theme of this particular conference. And this is what he said. Now, having said that, let's look at education 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. What does it really mean? I think we have all used to Gurukuls of India or academies of Greece. They were the educationists when there was a high student to teacher ratio, 1-to-1 ratio, flexible schedules, syllabi that were highly personalized to students, wide span of subject. Dronacharya taught Arjun everything. Fundamentally unscalable, limited knowledge that closed guarded, restricted access to most fortunate and influential. So only very few people could get educated in Gurukuls. Then came our era, like you are all me. I mean, I'm a little old, but I'm not so old. But if you really see, the way we learned the present model, broadcast and assembly line model, we had multiple students, increased from 100 to 250. One to many, focus on rote learning and term-based testing. And one method to teach them all. We feel there should be uniformity, there should be guidelines, there should be, everybody should know everything. We have documents, everything. And prioritize literacy, recall over problem solving, forced expansion of access, and knowledge still limited to books and syllabus. This was our problem. So, we tried to create a medical school or a factory. We wanted to bring everybody at that particular level. Now, this was a problem with our organization. Let's see what will be our education in 2047. We really don't know. Because something like that 25 years ago, sending money from one account to another was by check, and there were 20 people involved and 3 days involved. Today, in 3 minutes, I can send money to anybody who is close on a bank account. And what happened to the job of 20 people and who have learned those 20 people? They're all lost. Now, you're all talking about master adaptability. People have to adapt to the new change. So, if in 2047, there's a new technology going to come and the whole world is going to change, am I treating or teaching my doctor who is going to be that good? He is going to get a lot of technologies. Technologies are going to come. In that situation, am I being able to adopt my teacher? As a teacher, am I able to train my students who will be able to adopt to the newer policies, new everything in 2047? And this is where we have to ask these questions. Having said that, the risk of job being replaced by automation was 69% in India, Ethiopia 85%, China in 72%. That means what? People lost their job because of technology, which is coming up. Having said that, people have to adopt to the newer learnings. Now, let us look at these 3 examples. Apple, Mahatma Gandhi and freedom, and Wright brothers. Why do you think they were successful? One of the simple reasons why they were successful, because they thought differently. They thought differently than what were the conventional things which were going on. They thought completely differently. So, dealing with uncertainties, we are talking about something which is likely to come. All people talked about adaptive things. I'm just making it very simple to make you understand. So, medicine and medical education will change in next few years. Do you know what to teach to our students? If I don't know what is coming, what I'm going to teach to my students? So, there are going to be newer materials, newer technology, newer evidences, and changing mindsets of patients. Having said that, changing education from information memorization to brute force recall is now irrelevant. Problem solving, curiosity, and innovation are the key. So, today we should talk about all this. So, if you really see, students have transformed from passive to active, completing from creating, memorizing to processing, marching to reflecting, dependent to autonomous, and answering to asking. We have already changed. We want our students to change this way. We want our teachers also to change. We want our teachers to be student-centered, listening, facilitator, abundance, and process experts rather than knowledge experts. Knowledge is available to everyone on a mobile. I don't think we need to really now worry about too much of knowledge because it goes on changing and it is available to everyone. Having said that, so reinvent the education to give top critical skills to our students. So talk about complex problem solving skills, critical thinking, creativity, people management, emotional intelligence, judgment and decision making, service orientation. So all we talked about behaviors and skills, these are something which we make our students to learn, and I'm sure any new technology will come, he will be able to adopt to that technology. So these are the top 10 skills which we feel, and this is, if you look at the NEP policy, if you look at Mashelkar's paper, all they said these are the 10 skills which you should make our students learn. And if you realize, in CBME we try to take some of these skills in an IMG. When we try to look at ATCOM, we try to look at CBME, we try to look these new components like electives, we try to bring SDL, we try to bring many other things by which we try to bring these skills to you. So critical thinking refers to ability. To give a few examples, critical skill is to ability to evaluate information. Now what is analytical thinking? You know, I was always impressed by Sherlock Holmes. I don't know whether this video will work, but can you give sound? No, it's okay.
Explanation of all the facts.
Wrong. It's one possible explanation of some of the facts. You've got a solution that you like, but you're choosing to ignore anything you see that doesn't comply with it.
Like?
The wound's on the right side of his head.
And?
Bankun was left-handed. Requires quite a bit of contortion.
Left-handed?
I'm amazed you didn't notice. All you have to do is look around this flat. Coffee table on the left-hand side, coffee mug handle pointing to the left. Power sockets habitually use the ones on the left. Pen and paper on the left-hand side of the phone because he picked it up with his right and took down messages with his left. You want me to go on?
No, I think you've covered.
I might as well. I'm almost at the bottom of the list. There's a knife on the breadboard with butter on the right side of the blade. Because he used it with his left, it's highly unlikely that a left-handed man would shoot himself in the right side of his head. Conclusion, someone broke in here and murdered him. Only explanation of all of the facts.
But the gun...
He was waiting for the killer. He'd been threatened.
Sure. So if you look at it, Sherlock Holmes within 1 second recognizes that he is a left-handed and this is a murder. Now, this is analytical thinking. Now, if somebody wants to make your students, when a patient walks in and he analyzes, then I'm sure no new problems, the new COVID may come, but he has analytical skills, he will be able to do it. So we need to implicate analytical skills in them. So promoting creativity is very important for our students, and that is something which many of us do, many of us don't do. We want to stick to the curriculum, we want to stick, but there has to be some hidden curriculum where we need to have creative instructional strategies, models and methods. And as I think Praveen rightly said, we need to have a balance between the efficiency and the innovation. There's something called as the design thinking in health tech. You know, there's a top-down approach, there's an how to improve current needs. And if you look at the health tech innovation designs, now this is something which has become very popular over the last 10 years. And we are now trying to mix the innovation and the efficiency together so that our education will be adaptable for future. Innovative teaching and learning, I'm sure if you look at, there have been enough publications. In fact, ICON, the conference is conducted, is only on innovations. So I personally feel people are looking for these kind of things today, and they're looking at innovative challenges. The technology has changed, if you really see. If you see these videos, today we can bring augmented and mixed reality like this. And I can bring these lever images into my operation theater, I can cut it, I can make my students learn. Now, if I'm going to have this technology, my students also should know about this technology. And I should learn that technology before I make them learn. And if I'm not able to do them, then my students will never learn, but they may adopt it, and they may adopt it wrongly because students learn faster than teachers. Having said that, if you do with another thing which is coming in a big way is called as learning analytics. AI is coming in a big way. Whatever you are doing today, you put it to the learning analytics and students will learn more. How many of us have started using AI and ChatGPT in our regular teaching? Don't get worried about them. I'll talk about it, but use it more creatively. I think you will be able to benefit your students better. Medical humanities as is something which is a philosophy and has probably, as I said, is a behavioral change which will come through medical humanities. It's a human side of medicine. It's a values, behavior. This has to be really pushed into humanities. So what will be education in 2047? Personalized learning, virtual campuses, more e-learning platforms, project-based learning, rise of education technology, teacher as a mentor, social and emotional skills as priority. Look at these terms. I'm nobody talking about knowledge explosion, knowledge transfer, skill. I'm sure we have to really see we are all talking about attitude and professional domains which we need to concentrate. Having said that, we have a changing role from the student who was a knowledge source at our time to facilitator which is today to the orchestrator in next few years. If you are not able to accept this change, we are not doing something which is right. Having said that, are we teaching these skills to our students? And my answer no is grossly no. So in that situation, how do we adopt? Is our faculty ready for such education? Now, if you really see the history of faculty development in India, it started with NTTC with 4 centers. It was a very dynamic kind of an situation when NTTC in JIPMER started, JIPMER, MMC, then PGI and Banaras University they started, and that was an initial attempt, and without any resources they started that time this wonderful kind of an faculty development in India, NTTC 1975. Then came FAMER. I'm sure all of you, many of you are FAMER fellows. We made this attempt to do FAMER, and we tried to develop these 4 centers and trying to develop, of course, with limited resources and limited number of people. Whatever we could do, we have really done, and it is still continued. Then we wrote many articles, and I'm sure we wrote for need for faculty development in India. And once upon a time, I was called by MCI, and MCI took it very positively. And now we have a MCI and NMC network. There are more centers being added. And now we are going across India. More than 95,000 teachers have been trained into BCWA, CME, CISP and ATCOM. That means now we are creating a good faculty development in India, the only one probably funded by the NMC or the government in all over the world. And I think this is an example where we have taken ahead of everybody's world. And I think, Krishna, my map still shows Kashmir. And if you really look at NTTC, FAMER and NMC, if you really see, we have now 3 basic steps in which we did faculty development. Now, NMC has so many centers. We have a published report which says we have done this. So what is the impact on medical education it did? It's very important to look back and see. Awareness of adult learning principles. I think everybody got adult learning principles. We started respecting students and we started looking at them as and with respect. We started looking at their needs. Some expertise in teaching technology. I'm saying some. The word some is very important, not all, but we have some expertise. Improve teaching learning methods and assessment. We now try to avoid those long lectures. We try to bring in interactivity many times. And facilitation in curricular implementation. I think we have been able to get with CISP these 4 aspects very well. What we also did achieve, we created this faculty declaration form and we said, have you attended basic course? And people said tick, so people attend workshops because that is necessary for their promotion and necessary for their MCI recognition. But they are attended, yes, trained, yes, developed, I'm not very sure. So this is what a question we have to ask. Are they trained but developed? And that is a question I'm going to ask them. So this is one paper we published in October 23. I'm sure we looked at what we did in last 20 years and how did it really fare. I'm sure you should really look at this. And what we really found that there's a self-reported increase in the knowledge and skills of HPE, definitely. Increase in the quality of education and influence on the educational policies in various countries. I'm sure we tried to bring in CBME. It's all your effort, which you have done. Establish academic societies, I'm sure like these, web platforms and innovations and experiments in HPE. We have been doing all this. We have 93 papers in this conference, which speaks itself that people are doing experiments in medical education. Another paper which we published was self-efficacy. The teacher's self-efficacy improves. This is the belief of a teacher improves. We have increased publications in HPE in India. This is something which also we should say. This is my and Anshu's chapter. We have clearly documented that there have been increased number of publications in medical education from India over the last 10 to 20 years because of faculty development efforts. Now let me ask you a question, training or development? Now people classified as trained or untrained. Once trained, nothing more is required, that they feel. It's never like that. Once you get a degree, doesn't mean in a field like medicine, you have to continuously upgrade yourself. Same thing in education, you have to train yourself again and again. Training can be imparted in limited time and to many people, and organization responsibility is to provide arranged training. So this was a classic model in 1991, which was training model. What was this model? That master teachers expert practice, there's a theories and abstract concepts, trainee teacher observes, academic research, and trainees learning. This was a classical training model. And teachers, then came the teachers development, where professional learning by teachers already engaged in professional practice and reflective discussion sessions have to happen. Now this is not happening. And you will find the Cole got this model of concrete experience, reflective observation, abstract conceptualization, and then active experimentation. So we need to shift from training to development. So development is initiated by self. There's multiple changes like personal construction of knowledge, cognitive and affective domain, collaborative, stresses on personal development. So it has basically three components. One is a reflective component, second is a person-centric component, and third is a teacher's empowerment component. So the teacher has to develop himself, and it is his own responsibility. I'm sure training will happen, but ultimately you also need to put in effort to develop yourself. Having said that, faculty training in India, national teachers training was mainly a training. 10 days course, you learn something, come back. FEMA fellowship is purely development over 2 years. Basic course, again training. Advanced course was some training, few development. MHE diploma is partly training and development. So just reflect what you have gone through. And then you realize that the development component is weak in our settings. So we need to strengthen that component in our place. So need for faculty development. Are our teachers developed to impart the skills which we need in 2047 to our students? If not, we need to develop that. So it's a continuous process of reviewing, renewal, and enhancing thinking practice and capacitates competency. Are our faculty developed for future? Now, if you really look at Steinert, who has done this great work, he defines faculty development like this, and he says it's a work systematically, improve the skills of teaching, instructional design, scholarship, personal development plan, and implementing a professional development plan. You know, these are something which, so we only read first few lines and forget about the last 2 points. Having said that, a profile of a future medical teacher, you know, this was Benner's paper in 2000, who really 20 years predicted what we should have, provide all this, which we are now trying to follow over a period of time. So what should be the future faculty development? Now that you have understood what has happened before, what are our needs, what we need to do further, what should be the future faculty development? Now we need an optimal teacher learning by combining training and development. And this is what is the need of the world. We need to combine these two models, the Wallace's and Cole's model. We need to bring in expert practice, anecdote, and reflective observations. We also need theories but active experimentation. And we need to make a change happen in your own people. So from behaviorist model to cognitivist model, we need now a reflective model. We need to people reflect. You know, we were constructing knowledge before. Now there is always not necessary because of knowledge. We now need to reflective from that. So what makes a good clinical teacher? A good clinical teacher is a multifactorial, transcends ordinary teaching, and is characterized by inspiring, supporting, actively involving, and communicating with students. And as I think Krishna rightly said, it's a non-cognitive attributes of the clinical teacher as well as the knowledge and skills associated. So non-cognitive teachers like values, responsiveness are most important, which we need to develop as a roles and role models. So if you look at this paper, very nice paper, we have no choice but to transform the future of medical education after COVID-19 pandemic. And what did it really say? It talked about scientific curiosity. It talked about growth mindset. It talked about adaptive leadership and collaborative. All we talked in the morning is all there here. Teamwork, cultivating trustworthiness, and social justice. Now these are what we need and felt by most of the educators today. Having said that, we also should think about utility of training. Whatever I learn outside, am I able to come back and utilize it in my own college? If my college is giving me 3 days leave or 7 days leave, after coming back, am I going to make change into the practice, education, and research? I think this is a question we should always ask. Because if you are not able to transfer that to your institution and your practice, that training has not much value. It will remain in books or in your walls as a certificate. So I think training must be applied to the workplace. Transfer of training is less than 10%. Transfer is a major issue in training literature, and training cost justified only with significant transfer. Having said that, the new mantra of education is embrace technology, staying human. I think the technology we have to adopt, but you have to also stay human. We have to now balance. Technology we have to adopt, at the same time we have to maintain our values, humanness, patient willingness, and this is what is the new mantra which we need to do. So if you look at the systematic review of faculty development, this is a wonderful systematic review. I think Steiner talks about it in a big way, saying that opportunities for feedback, reflection, and intention of community building. Having said that, I would like you to go through this book, which is a wonderful book on faculty development, but I will try to give also my thoughts. It's a growth of any craft depends on shared practice and honest dialogue among the people who do it. So having said that, what should be the future direction of faculty development in HPE? Let's look at it, what we really want. We have to move from workshop to workplace. This is one of the good message. We feel happy to do workshops. I'm sure I also did one. But it's time that we shift from workshop to workplace. That means we should try to go back. That means one-time training to ongoing professional development. Let's not say that I attended one workshop in 1991 and I'm still happy with what you're doing. No, the time has been, it has to be an ongoing professional development. People are in history. Now we have to look for future. Now if you also start valuing learning in the workplace, that means process of learning from experience and learning for and in the workplace. Secondly is enhancing transfer of learning to workplace. As I said, I have been, see, whenever I went to any foreign training, I have tried to replicate it in India. When I did my FEMA fellowship, I always felt that, okay, I am trained. What about the whole country? What about my unit? So then we all developed this whole FEMA networks, and now we see the result, that how we could really bring the whole thing. The same thing I did when I went to the HPB training in India, in US. I came back and we have developed the whole network of HPB surgery in India and Bhutan and Nepal. So unless you are coming back and developing your own units and people around you, that has no value in what you are doing. You may be excellent person in there, but in an education, you need somebody who wants to take it across. Thirdly, bringing formal faculty development activities to workplace. Your workplace should be a place where you should learn to continue to your growth. And if your faculty is not growing, probably, I'm sorry about this. Sure. Penetrate the work environment and integrate formal activities into natural settings. Most of the people say, I'm too busy. We get caught into what is called as an activity trap. I am seeing 200 patients. Do you have time for yourself? Do you have time for your students? Do you have time for your personal growth? Earning money or just seeing patients is not the full aim of your life. Develop communities of practice. That is something which also we should do. Unless we develop a community of practice, whether it's your own college, your own groups, whether your own associations, whether your own social networks, unless you develop these, help faculty members, we will never grow. Even today, after so many years in this, I always learn something new from my juniors, my lectures which I listen, people I talk to, grapevining. I learn so much, and that's the way I grow myself in personal development. The second point in a future direction in FDA is expanding the focus of faculty development. Unfortunately, we all only get one degree called MS Surgery, but if you look at, and we suddenly become HOD, and then we are lost. Because I don't know anything beyond surgery. And I have so many roles to do. I have to be a role model, informative provider, research developer, but I also have to do so many roles as a planner, assessor, examiner, and I'm not ready for this. So unless I train people into education, management, facilitation, orchestration, they are not going to be successful. Shifting from an individual to an organizational focus. We should work on what our organization wants rather than what individual wants. I may get 20 awards, but my organization is not going to help. It is not going to matter to me. Third is building on the evidence and previous successes. I mean, we should always do analysis, which is my institutions or my own personal problems, and I try to develop a personal agenda on this. And this is very important. I was a very young kid in 1985. I had come from the Marathi school, never know how to really speak English. In a public, you always used to shake. So I realized this, and I completely attended full course on public speaking course, and it changed the way I live, the change I speak, because it matters. There are some lacunae which are never taught to you in your day-to-day curriculum. But if you realize that is my gap, learn it and implement it. Integrate alternative approaches, promoting reflection and reflective practice. I think many people talked about. And most important, encourage interprofessional faculty development. There is a lot of learning from nursing, lot of learning from, as I said, I think somebody in the morning said that there's so much of learning from all these communities. Learn from them. The fourth is starting early in the career. We should start faculty development in UG, PG and fellows. I think Payal had that program of resident as a teacher. I think we should even have some lessons in UG on kind of this teaching. You may not have an exam. Mapping the research agenda for faculty development, ensuring that research is informed and a conceptual framework. Learning from each other is one of the most powerful moves. Whether it's a student, whether it's a teacher, is a faculty, we all learn from each other. We all follow each other. I have always learned from my best colleagues in the department. Every time I don't have to go for a course. AI and Chat GPT. Are you all worried that it has come? When the Chat GPT came in December, everybody was worried. What will happen? Will students happen? Everybody was worried. But I must tell you, this is a New York Times article which says, don't ban Chat GPT in schools, teach with it. I think it is so nice to really look at it. See, when Google came, people were extremely worried. Will Google? But Google has helped you today. Today you can't live without Google. Many of you would at least go once to Google today in the morning and look at it. Anything you want. The same thing the Chat GPT and AI is going to do. Don't get so worried about it. Use it creatively. Try to find out how we can use AI and Chat GPT to make your life better. You can go at a higher level of an education. You can try to concentrate more onto the behaviors. Or use it to creating outlines, starting point in classrooms, personalized lesson learning, creating ideas with classroom activities, after communication or musicals. I mean, this is something use an AI Chat GPT more creatively. In fact, if you look at the papers, it is also used for communication, values, everything it can be really. Values and role models, this is something which I also want to say. Values are imbibed by imitating teachers, parents and role models. Values are imbibed by watching teachers in action. Students follow not only what a teacher talks, but how he behaves. After 30 years, I don't remember what my teacher has taught. I remember how he behaved with me. I think that is important. Remember, what do you remember about your teacher? Do you remember that he told you SAT classification? No. You remember how he was soft-spoken, how he talked about it. And that is something which patients also want. As I said, that is something we should really say. Oh my God. Students follow not what teacher talks, but how he behaves, and mirror neurons can definitely help. And faculty developed programs must respect values and cultures. I think we had one paper on this, Henal and me. I'm sure you can read that. So what needs to be done? We need role models. I'm sure a lot of talk in the morning. Develop teachers with values. Need to concentrate on the hidden curriculum which Krishna talked in the morning. Value-based education, and that's where you have to have your curriculum implementation, because that is something with the critical skills and problem-based skills will remain over the next few years. Even imagine, are we doing this for our children? Are we doing this for our grandchildren? This is a question we should all ask. And so the key message I want to say that is the changing role of faculty. We need to have innovative faculty development programs. One-time training to ongoing development. Conceptual frameworks, research-based expanded roles, curiosity, creativity and commitment. Interprofessional early in the career and learn from each other. Workshops to workplace. Try to see how do I develop myself in workplaces. Expand focus of faculty development and promoting faculty development early in the career. Having said that, this is the last framework I'm going to show. One side you are from informal faculty development to the formal faculty development, and other side you are from individual to the group development. Many times it's good to grow as a group, like our ME unit grew as a group, which I thought was a wonderful thing for our institution rather than I growing on myself. So if you really look, there are different techniques like online learning, workshops, reflecting, work-based, but the most important here is mentorship. Mentorship doesn't change. Mentors have remained. They were in the Gurukul times also, they were our times also, and they will remain for the future education also. So I would like to end saying that what we need, I think Tejinder always says about Krishna and Arjun. And he always says that Arjun had everything, but he required an Krishna at the time when there was a Mahabharata to guide him how to fight. I think the same thing I must talk about the Sant Jnaneshwar, because you are in Maharashtra, you must know about it, that he always considered Guru as a mentor. He always says, Sadguru Anugraha Vina Kathina Sarvatha Patane. And I think the classic story of Santa Gora Kumbhar and Santa Namdev, there was a lot of people were standing and he went and said, Nyandev, tumhara pakka madka hai. And when he came to Namdev, he says, tumhara kacha madka hai. You are raw. And Namdev was surprised. He says, I am so established. I have done so many abhangas, but why so? He says, you don't have a guru. And then Namdev went to the Visoba Khechar, and then he got a guru, and then he became a pakka madka. So the last line is most important. And I think all of us should have one mentor, a role model to follow, and that's where everything matters. So what teacher is more important than what he teaches. And all of us should always remember, so we need to see that what my students are learning, and unless I develop myself, my students are not going to learn. And therefore I feel I'm gratitude to all my teachers who have given so much to me, from D.K. Srinivas to Page to Jogalkar Madam to Tejinder, Bill, and I'm sure many of faces here are today here in this particular field also. Of course, my AHPE team, who is extremely important for me in my life. They are my family members. My deans and the Department of Medical Education. If you see all my people here who have contributed immensely in my development and my career, I must really show gratitude to them. And in summary, I would like to say, we the educators need to prepare for future with resilience, perseverance, and future needed training and maintaining values. Let's learn from each other. Thank you so much. Let's do it together. Sure. Sure. Thank you so much. It means to me.
Thank you, sir. You did deserve that standing applause. It's a moment we all need to imbibe. Thank you all.
Sure.
So, thank you for showing us a glimpse of the future and telling us that the need to be prepared for it. The quest for excellence, as you said, cannot be achieved through shortcuts, and assembly line productions cannot be an alternative to the apprenticeship that was there in our gurukuls. Creativity and innovation, flexibility, these are all things which need to be included. Let me, so please sit down, and let me first take this opportunity to read out the citation that we are giving along with the AHPE Oration Award. Dr. Avinash Nivriti Supe is a doyen in the field of medicine, renowned for his exceptional contributions as a medical educator. With a distinguished career marked by an impressive array of accomplishments, he has left an indelible mark on the landscape of surgical gastroenterology and health professions education in India and beyond. Dr. Supe has played a pivotal role in shaping medical education policies and practices. He was chairman of the expert group of the erstwhile Medical Council of India, chairman convener of the expert group of the National Medical Commission, and chairman of the GI Surgery Board for the National Board of Examinations. He has also been the president of the Academy of Health Professions Educators of India, showcasing his dedication to advancing medical education. His influence extends beyond national borders, having held esteemed positions such as past secretary of the Asia Pacific Hepatobiliary Association and past president of the Indian Association of Surgical Gastroenterology. He served as the Dean of Lokmanya Tilak Medical College and Hospital, Mumbai, and St. G.S. Medical College and KM Hospital, Mumbai. He was also Director of Medical Education and Major Hospitals at MCGN, Mumbai. These tenures were a display of his administrative acumen and leadership capabilities. He is currently working as an Emeritus Professor of Surgical Gastroenterology and Medical Education at St. G.S. Medical College, Mumbai. His commitment to enriching medical education is exemplified through his role as the founder director of GSMC Famer Regional Institute. He has mentored a generation of health professions faculty, gently guiding them to explore the world of medical education. Dr. Suppe's impact on medical education has been recognized through prestigious awards such as the B.C. Roy Award and the ANBI, MMC, MUHS, and National Board Awards for Best Teacher. He has been awarded for excellence in urban healthcare by the Maharashtra Medical Council as well as the Mumbai Bhushan 2020 award. Sir has been involved with various editorial boards, including Medical Education and Indian Journal of Gastroenterology. He has shared his knowledge through extensive scholarly contributions, including 7 books, 12 booklets, and over 300 publications, demonstrating his commitment to advancing medical education, knowledge, and practice. In conclusion, Dr. Avinash Suppe's remarkable contributions to medical education have elevated him to an eminent position in the field. His dedication, expertise, and innovative approaches have empowered and inspired countless individuals within the community of health professions educators. The Academy of Health Professions Education is honored to bestow upon him the AHPE oration for 2023. Dr. Suppe's legacy as a visionary medical educator will continue to influence and shape the future of healthcare and medical education. Thank you.
I now request the chairpersons to kindly felicitate Dr. Avinash Suppe, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I request Dr. Sharad Sawant to please felicitate Dr. Anshu ma'am. I request Dr. Sharan Sawant to kindly felicitate Dr. Varsha Phadke ma'am. I request Dr. Sharan Sawant to kindly felicitate Dr. Varsha Phadke ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.